please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Welcome back. Well, indicating a tight race between the BJP and the Congress, most exit polls for the Karnataka Assembly elections forecast a hung assembly with the JDS likely to play the kingmaker. But we're divided on which of the two national parties will actually emerge as the largest in the House. Now, in the exit polls run by Republic TV, Jan Ki Bharat, an ABPC voter predicted that the BJP will emerge as the largest party by getting 95 to 114 and 97 to 109 seats respectively. Now they put the Congress tally at anywhere between 73 to 82 and 87 to 99 respectively, with the former Prime Minister H.D. Devegowda led JDS predicted to get 32 to 43 and 21 to 30 seats. However, Times Now, VMR and India Today Access My India said that the ruling Congress in the state will emerge as the largest party, forecasting 90 to 103 and 106 to 118 seats for the party. They predicted 80 to 93 seats and 79 to 82 seats for the BJP respectively.
And if the India Today exit polls said that the Congress may get a majority, the Republic TV predicted that Saffron Party may actually cross the halfway mark. Times Now put the likely tally of JDS at 31 to 39, while India Today put its figure at 22 to 30. NewsX, they predicted 102, 110, 72 to 78 and 35 to 39 seats for BJP, Congress and the JDS respectively. Both the BJP and the Congress ran a spirited campaign in the state, with Prime Minister Narendra Modi leading the saffron charge with 21 rallies, while Rahul Gandhi and Chief Minister Siddaramaiah led the Congress bid to ensure that it defies anti-incumbency to retain power. The BJP has declared B.S. Yediyurappa as its chief ministerial candidate. So we'll keep an eye out on which way the camel turns its back yesterday.
Okay, and key political figures here like Yediyurappa, Devegowda and KG George already cast their votes in Karnataka on Saturday. Listen into what they had to say.
Vote for BJP, vote for democracy, because people fed up with the Siddaramaiah's government. We want to give very good government. So let them, all the people support BJP, and we are going to get 150 seats. And we are going to form the government on 17th.
All right. So what does corporate India think, and what are they expecting from the next government that will be formed in Karnataka? Well, to find that out, we caught up with Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw of Biocon, Vikram Kirloskar of Toyota Kirloskar Motor, and Devi Shetty of Narayana Healthcare. And here's what they had to say.
How is this election different from the previous election that you have seen?
I don't think it's grossly different. Every election is important for the country. It's because this is perhaps the only election happening in the country, so everybody is looking at it. And also, people think it's a trailer for the next election, which I don't think so, because political situation keeps changing. Major issue affecting the city or the country is job creation, economic prosperity. We have to look at the future of the younger generation.
Yes, but the debates have not been really around that, has it?
It is very sad. The debate is all about personal profile and personal preferences and personal issues. I wish it was more of a growth-oriented discussion.
For me, the farmer to be made rich is always the first priority. If somehow you develop more technology in farming, in making rural people more rich, is what I think the government should focus on. Industry like us can take care of ourselves. We should be left with an open hand, the regulation only on environment, but government effort, maximum government effort on the rural and the poor people for inclusive growth. Inclusive growth is most important.
I would like to see better governance in Bengaluru, and I personally believe that, you know, for long we've been discussing the role of BBMP and the structure of BBMP. And I think that has to be a very, very strong focus for this next government. There are lots of things we need to do in terms of our healthcare delivery model. You know, how do we really provide good quality healthcare for all? How do we make sure that our education policy really creates the kind of jobs and employability that we are looking for?
All right, so that was what corporate India expected of the Karnataka elections. But let's take a look at the global cues. The dollar, that one holds steady on with its recent rally, running out of steam on the back of sagging US yields as investors wound back in expectations that the Federal Reserve will launch a series of quick rate hikes.
Okay, let's come back and see how the last rate fared on Friday. It was the last hour rally, perhaps on expectations of Karnataka elections that saw markets end at 3-month high levels on Friday, led by major gains in financials and energy stocks. The Nifty reclaimed 10,800 with gains of 90 points, and the Sensex rallied about 300 points in trade. The mid-caps continued their underperformance, while the closing gain in that particular index was up around 0.5%. The banks were star performers on Friday, with the index rallying more than 1% in trade. But how are the cues stacked up for the trade? Nigel joins us early this morning. Nigel, good morning. Of course, it's the exit polls that will be on mind, right?
Absolutely, Anisha. Very good morning to you and Mangalam. I did my bit. I couldn't vote, but I went ahead and had a couple of dosas on the weekend. It was delicious. But the markets, well, they are celebrating. As you all have been telling us, the US markets did well. In the last week itself, they've had a good run, 2 to 2.5% odd. The Nifty as well was up nearly around 200 points in the past week. So we're definitely factoring in a BJP victory. If you take a look at the screen, and if you had any doubts, you have to look at a couple of stocks. In Friday's trading session, BEML ended virtually at the high point of the day. Now, the incumbent Congress government in Karnataka, they had really opposed this. So we saw a bit of a rally in the last couple of days on BEML, and that could suggest that maybe, in fact, the polar polls as well as suggesting that the BJP will emerge as a single largest party. So everything's going according to script. The only problem is, was some part of the market factoring in a UP-like verdict? Now, that's still possible, remember, tomorrow, where you have a thumping, resounding win coming in for the BJP. Time will tell. Tomorrow, first half, we'll be done and dusted with these polls. Getting to the flows then, the FIs, they were sellers. They have been selling. 300 crores is what they sold. But the DIs, they backed up this money. So net institutions were buying in this market. You see what the FIs have been done in the last few days. 20 straight sessions, they are selling. They've sold nearly around $1.5 billion odd. So the FIs are sellers in the cash market, but they are very bullish in the derivatives market. They bought nearly 3 longs for every 1 short position. They also bought 13,000 calls, call contracts, and they unwound some of those long puts. And finally, they wrote 13,000 put contracts. So put all of that together. They're buying the index, they're buying calls, they're writing puts, telling you that very, very bullish signs coming in from the FIs in the derivatives market. What are they writing? The 10,700 put, the 10,500 put, big open interest build up among them. So even if things go wrong, the 10,500 level should hold out. What didn't really work for us over the weekend is the economic data. The IIP data, it came in at around 4.4%. We were expecting a bit of a contraction, but that missed what we were working with as well. And remember, a couple of headwinds. Right. The bond yields have been spiking up. The crude prices have been moving higher as well. So things, a little iffy, Mangalama, I would say. At some point of time, the market will have to take notice of this. But today, what's going to dominate is going to be the exit polls. Towards the end of the trading session, it'll be quite volatile.
Well, I'm glad you ate a lot of dosas over the weekend, but I also wish that MTR, the dosa company from Karnataka, was listed. But talking about listed stocks, what are the stocks you're watching out for?
Well, Mangalam, you're going to have a busy day. Yeah. Hindustan, Unilever, we'll be watching out for those set of numbers. Remember, the past companies that have come out with a good set of numbers, FMCG majors, like you had Nestle, Jubilant, you had Dabur, Mangalam has been telling us, those numbers look good. Hindustan, Unilever, we're working our poll through up a number of around 6 to around 8% in terms of volume growth. So that's the key number you're looking at. Let's see whether or not there is rural recovery that plays out, whether the volume numbers come in line as well. Mangalam will tell you more about that later in the show. Results today, you have KC International, Blue Star, Dr. Lal Path Labs, Godrej Agrovet, and also South Indian Bank. So a lot of these stocks will be in focus today. They come out with their set of numbers. Results reactions, plenty of them. Sun TV should move higher in today's trading session. Brokerages, they are quite bullish there. Ad revenue growth and subscription growth both look good. HOEC, the stock has had a bit of a run, or quite a run. The margins did expand there, so good going. Omax Auto, they delivered a profit versus a loss, so thumbs up for them. Vinati Organics as well as RPP Infra, both those two operational numbers look quite good. And VST Tillers, the tractor sales have been playing out. Everyone talks about VST Tillers and tractors. The tillers was factored in, now the tractors are getting factored in. The numbers looked very, very good. Gujarat Gas as well delivered a very good set of numbers over the weekend. And Genus Power as well. Oh, there the margins did expand by nearly around 300 to around 400 basis points odd. Relaxo Footwear, Mangalam is telling us, that was sprinting ahead. Those numbers look very, very strong, so keep an eye out on that stock. Well, Neil Kamal, those numbers were more or less flattish, so that stock should be in focus as well. A couple of stars in the last 1 year. Graphite India and Saregama, both of them have had a big run. Both those numbers look very, very good. But a couple of weak results, Puravankara as well as Gillette. Not a good shave over there. You know, the numbers didn't look very, very good. And finally, the PSU banks, there could be some pain over there. Canara Bank, we have the slippages, the highest in the last 8 quarters. So keep an eye out on that stock. Allahabad Bank, we're talking about gross NPAs moving to around 16%. Not looking great in UCO Bank. I don't know what kind of business is this. 24-25% of gross NPAs. Right. So these numbers don't look very good. And we had Oriental Bank as well. Oh, there the gross NPAs have moved to around 17.5%. So the PSU banking space, particularly the smaller banks, may not do very, very well. Back to both of you.
Okay, Nigel, thank you so much for that. So a lot of result reactions, what we will watch out for in trade today. But it is time now for a short break. March IIP numbers came in below estimates. We will get you the details on the other side.
Welcome back. This is Power Breakfast. Just taking a look at a couple of the Asian markets. Remember, earlier they were absolutely directionless, but we're getting in early rates from Hang Seng as well as Shanghai, and both those indices are on fire. 0.5% gain for the Shanghai, but look at the Hang Seng, up about 380 points. So that is something we'll have to watch out for. But SGX Nifty, despite the sudden up move that we are getting in from Hang Seng as well as Shanghai, is not reacting adversely or positively to that. We're still down about 5.5 points, just about flattish at the open. So we'll keep an eye out on how that one pans out. But let's move on to some macro cues to watch today, or rather the ones that came over the weekend. The index of industrial production, the IIP as we know it, came in at 4.4%, which is below the CNBC TV18 expectations of 6.1%. And this disappointment came in from the manufacturing sector, which came in at 4.4%, much lower than the trend that we're witnessing on the screen right now. And capital goods also saw a contraction of 1.8%, as against a growth of 20% last month. Mining saw a bit of an improvement on a monthly basis, coming in at almost 3%, as against a contraction of 0.3% last month. So we'll keep an eye out on how the street takes these numbers.
Okay, moving on to an exclusive news break then. CNBC TV18 learns that the composition of the Flipkart board has been chalked out. Priya Sheth has been following that story for us closely. Priya, what are the details that you're picking up?
Well, some very significant information coming from the shareholders agreement as far as Walmart is concerned. This is, of course, in relation to the latest SEC filing for Walmart. Now, as a part of that shareholders agreement, the Flipkart board will initially consist of about 8 directors. Out of these 8 directors, do remember 5 of these will be Walmart appointed directors, 2 will be directors appointed by minority shareholders, and in this case it could be Tencent as well as Tiger Global, and 1 founder, that will be Binny Bansal, will also be on the board as far as Flipkart is concerned. Now, 2 of the Walmart appointed directors will be unaffiliated with Walmart for at least 2 years post the deal closure, is what the shareholders agreement says. Now, the number of directors could be increased to 9 at any given point of time. Now, what is also critical at this point in time is that Walmart may appoint or replace the CEO or any other principal executive as far as the Flipkart group of companies is concerned. So do remember that the power to appoint directors solely lies with Walmart. Now, the other critical information as far as the shareholders agreement is concerned is that the holder of 60% of Flipkart shares or minority shareholders may require Flipkart to effect an IPO 4 years after the transaction closing for a value that's not less than that paid by Walmart. So some very critical observations or critical findings from the shareholders agreement that we've brought to you, and we'll be tracking this deal going forward in terms of what the real board composition will be once both the companies go ahead and announce it.
All right, Priya, thanks a lot for that. A valuation for Flipkart via an IPO which is not less than the one that was paid by Walmart. Well, that is something that we will keep an eye out on from the listed space, given the sort of valuations that Flipkart was bought at. But let's move on then. We have the 5-member GST committee led by Bihar Deputy Chief Minister Sushil Kumar Modi. They met on Friday in order to discuss the viability of incentivizing digital payments. Remember, 2 weeks, the GST Council during its meeting 2 weeks ago had said that they had discussed giving a 2% cashback up to 100 rupees to consumers making digital payments. But the group of ministers, however, could not take a decision. We spoke with the members of the committee and they told us that a number of issues had cropped up. They said that the committee will have to assess the impact of these incentives and study the model globally before arriving at a decision. Listen in.
I think one thing that the subcommittee was in agreement was that the shadow economy needs to be decreased, and India must become a cashless society. And for that, one way would be to study the best practices of many countries. Korea was one, Brazil was one, so on and so forth. Also, there were some concerns about the data which was being presented. So the officials have been asked that at the next meeting, you come up with some scientific, credible data. What would be the revenue loss, and how do we get to the threshold that when more people go cashless, so then we can become, you know, it could become a revenue neutral proposition.
We will have to go threadbare on each of the viewpoints, whether they are differing from each other, whether they are agreeing from each other. And the officials will go into the data mining and data analysis based on the inputs received at today's meeting. And then in the next meeting, we'll again go threadbare with little more information, maybe some international studies as well, to look at best practices elsewhere. And then we will collectively come together. So I do not want to say anything individually. Our individual positions are known to the media.
नहीं, आज ये जो डिजिटल ट्रांजैक्शंस को इंसेंटिवाइज करने के लिए जो ग्रुप ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स की बैठक हुई, तो उसमें अभी एक बैठक और करने की आवश्यकता पड़ेगी। कई तरह के इश्यूज़ आए हैं और उन सारे इश्यूज़ पर विचार हम लोग करेंगे कि इस डिजिटल इंसेंटिव देने से क्या लाभ होगा, क्या नुकसान होगा, इन सारे पहलुओं पर और कई तरह के मुद्दे आए हैं और इसलिए उन सारी चीज़ों पर विचार करने के लिए फिर एक और बैठक होगी। इन द मीन टाइम द ऑफिशियल्स दे विल कलेक्टिंग सम डेटास, so what will the losses, what will the gain, and many other issues which have been raised by the ministers also, and even many of the states, they have sent their comments on this particular topic.
Okay, it's time now for a quick break. Up next, FMCG major Hindustan Unilever will be reporting its Q4 numbers today. We'll get you the key expectations on the other side of this very short break. Stay tuned.